Okay, welcome again for the practical examples of my Hospitality Intelligence and Analytics course. In this case, we are going to do guest satisfaction survey analysis. Of course, we are going to do some basics, but let's go and look at the survey first. We have questions in the survey such as customer ID, age, gender, income level, visiting frequency, purpose of visit. Then the satisfaction scores such as room cleanliness, check-in speed, staff friendliness, value for money, tech rating, and overall satisfaction. Before we start, I want to mention that there are many different ways to approach this analysis. First thing is, this is a clean data. Already cleaned. You remember from earlier discussions, you have to be sure that your data is clean and all the ratings and everything follow the certain structure. So this is a clean data. What kind of analysis you can do with this kind of data? Of course, a lot. Like first, you can do the summary statistics, like from descriptive analytics, like for example, minimums, maximums, median, standard deviation for each satisfaction scores. You can do frequency distributions, like how many customers rated 5 for room cleanliness. You can do data visualizations, create bar charts, histograms, pie charts to visualize customer satisfaction distribution for each factors, for gender, for other things, for example. This survey doesn't have a time component, but if there was one, you can calculate, for example, monthly customer satisfaction scores to see, like you can plot line charts to visualize trends over time. You can do diagnostic analysis. You can do correlation analysis. Like, for example, you can assess relationship between satisfaction factors. For example, does tech rating correlate with overall satisfaction? You can do customer segmentation analysis. You can segment by what you have. Like in this case, we have income level, gender, age, visiting frequency, or purpose of visit. You can do regression analysis. Like for example, you can try to predict overall satisfaction based on other variables. I mean, there is not a lot of data for very good regression analysis, but at least you can have some idea in the what's most affect overall satisfaction, which we might do some correlation analysis. You can do what if analysis, trend forecasting. I mean, there is not a time series data, but if there was one, you can look at for optimization for satisfaction scores. For example, if most important things is the overall satisfaction for you, overall satisfaction score, you can do programs like Solver in Excel to identify how changes in individual factors, let's say staff friendliness, can maximize overall satisfaction. You can do scenario analysis. Like earlier I talked customer profiling, like you can do cluster analysis. You can cluster groups into segments like high versus low satisfaction, and what kind of people in those categories. You can do RFM analysis. You can classify customers into categories such as highly satisfied or at-risk customers. You can do advanced visualizations and so on and so forth. There are many different approaches. Now, before we start, like I said, this is going to be some kind of basic approach, but I want to also repeat some of the things we already talked. We're going to start with some kind of basic descriptive analytics. Why? Because descriptive analysis is often the first step in identifying where further investigation may be beneficial. Descriptive analysis also actually bring a lot of good results, like what patterns emerge from the average satisfaction rating across service areas. For instance, you might notice that some areas consistently score higher or lower, which can signal underlying strength or issues. Or how does the average rating for overall satisfaction compare to individual service areas? Room cleanliness, tech rating, value for money. Is there any relationship between highest and lowest rated service areas? Does the average rating for overall satisfaction meet the company's service quality goals, if there is one? How do these satisfaction ratings compare to industry benchmarks if available? We can go over and over. I mean, there are many questions you can answer even with the simplest approach. The first thing we're gonna do is to calculate the overall satisfaction. Now, I already did some of the calculations and everything the sake of saving some time. These are the rating averages. Like for example, for the overall satisfaction, if you look at this here, we got this in this data set, there was 300 answers. You get this and you take the average, okay? You can calculate all this. Actually, if possible, I would like you to stop the video here and calculate others by yourself. Even the simplest things, it is good to do some exercises. Now, next things what we can do is just generate this bar graph. And bar graph is just to show you, is actually it's not that hard. You can just take this calculations. You can go to insert. In this case, we use the bar chart. You can just select one. You like the almost same thing, and you can play change the title and make some arrangement a little bit. Now, one thing I want you to be show you, if you recall from the visualization, this is start from 2.80, not because try to be tell your story, but basically if it was starting from 1, the difference is not going to be that high, but in this case you want to be highlight the differences. That's why we started from 2.80 to 3.70. If we change to like 1 to 5, which is what we are supposed to do, this becomes less obvious, right? So we want to see the differences, and that's why we made some changes. I mean, you can change any way you want, but I forgot the highest point. It was a 3.8. You can arrange any way you want to just show the little bit differences. What does it look like? Like I said, there are many questions, but I want you to think about this and how what kind of basically thing you can come up. What kind of thing? Let's say you are explaining this to your supervisor or your executive or your general manager. What kind of explanation you might come up, like compared to overall satisfaction, like room cleanliness, check-in speed, and staff friendliness, etc. Now let's look at the next one. Okay, now in the next one, I calculated different distribution. Like for example, in here, I look at the age. First of all, I look at the calculate the average, minimum, maximum, median, and average in the data sets to see what does it look like. The second thing is we generated this distribution graph. It's a histogram basically. To see what is our age distribution visiting our property. Now, there is also many benefits to this. You might wondering what kind of people visiting, and also depends on your approach to these people. I'm going to show you some of the things in a minute. If I remember correctly, I did some of these calculations here for the different group with the different satisfaction scores. But this is once again for more informative. So once again, I want you to ask. I'm going to ask you to stop here and do for gender, income level, visit frequency, and purpose of visit yourself, and come back here in the video and look at this video to see if you have a similar outcomes. Okay, now next things we are going to do is we're going to try to identify differences in satisfaction across different groups that can help tailor services to meet the distinct needs of those groups. I mean, it depends on what are you looking for. But once again, always, what I'm trying to do, trying to show you some basics, but whenever you do this kind of things, you should do things important to you. What are you trying to look? What is your research question? What are you trying to find out, right? We are doing kind of like exploratory approach. Now, in this case, what we did was we created pivot tables. Here, let's say here we want to insert pivot table. Okay, we want to, let's get it everything so it doesn't matter. Okay, existing worksheet. Okay, now what are we wanna look at it? Like, for example, in this case, we will purpose of visit, income level, and gender. What else is there? Just to give you an idea, visit frequency, right? But for example, we're gonna select the visit frequency. Now, what we need to do is we are going to drag this in rows, right? And the second we want to, we need to get the visit frequency and the overall satisfaction. But the thing is here, the Excel gives us the sum, but what we need is an average, right? So we go and we look, let me show you again. We go in here, click on the value field setting, and we look at the average. So what we are trying to say to Excel is we want the average of those values. And of course, after that, you can format just to make it 2-digit numbers. Okay, now for some reason there is a blank here. I don't know why. I mean, I don't remember checking that, but it is possible some people not answer that. But what we can do is here, if you come here, there is a kind of like filtering system, right? So we can eliminate the blank. So we have an occasional, frequent, and first time. We can see what kind of differences we have. These are pretty similar, but it seems the first timers are more satisfied to compare to like occasional, just to give you an idea. Now, similar to here, leisure people are more satisfied. Let me see. Low income people are more satisfied, and high income people are less satisfied. Now, we can, normally we need to go into more detail to why section, but in what is given is not exactly, it gives a lot of information here. And females also put a higher score in the room cleanliness. Once again, these are just to give you some ideas. If possible, try to think about it, the possible reasons what this might be. But once again, these are some of the descriptive approaches. Now, next thing is what we call is the touch point benchmarking. Give me a second. Let me get this here. Now, touch point benchmarking is the calculation of ratio to the overall satisfaction. For example, in this case, we already have these values from the before, right? If you recall, we calculated the averages. Then what we do is we come here and calculate room cleanliness to overall satisfaction. Okay? And room cleanliness, check-in speed to overall satisfaction, staff friendliness to overall satisfaction, and so on and so forth. Now, I made it red because they are the value less than 1. Okay? We also created a bar graph that blue ones are higher than 1 and red ones are less than 1. Now, what does that mean? Like, for example, the ratio of 0.94, right? In this case, which one is the tech rating? This indicates that tech rating is slightly underperforming compared to overall experience. while I mean, this data set is not a perfect data set. It's been created the sake of just making some exercise. But while this is a close alignment, like small gap, like 6% below the overall satisfaction score, which means there is a room for improvement in the tech rating to better meet the customer expectations. That's mean people are overall more satisfied compared to tech rating. So you have a room that you can increase the tech rating. Why compared to overall satisfaction? Because this approach benchmark touch points against the overall customer experience, which helps identify which areas are lagging and which are excelling. If it's the below 1.0 and the red, that's our fall short of contributing equal to overall satisfaction. If the ratios above 1.0, which is the blue, that indicates touch points that exceed overall satisfaction levels, making them a strength, right? So compared to overall satisfaction, by the way, let's not forget, because overall, if you look at this company is not very perfect, or not perfect, but it's a very good companies because rating scores are low. Let's look at quickly each of them. Room cleanliness, for example, 1.09, right? So room cleanliness exceeds overall satisfaction by 9%, which make it strength. It indicates that customer finds this touch point better than overall experience. Check-in speed is like a little bit less, underperforming is marginally, but still it's going to be area to monitor and improve if further data shows consistent trend. Staff friendliness is good, value for money is good, but tech rating is like I said, underperformed. But let's keep this in mind. We are going to talk about the correlation effect, and it might not be always like looking at the one picture, not always give the whole story behind it. What else we want to do here? Okay, let's look at the different thing, which we call the top bottom box approach or touch point benchmarking. What we do here is, if you look at here, in this case for the room cleanliness, we are telling the Excel count if room cleanliness factors, all 300 of them, if they are 4 plus 5, count how many are there. So basically we are telling the Excel count if people are satisfied or very satisfied. Do you remember as the 1 through 5? So 4 and 5 are the satisfied people, so which is the top scores. Okay, and in this case we are looking at the 1 and 2, which people give the bad scores. Okay, so we do this for all of them. And by the way, if you recall from the chapter 6, customer satisfaction scores is also calculated by dividing top score to total of giving scores, which in this case is 300 multiplied by 100, which is actually equal to percentages here. Now, because we don't have a time series data, if there was a time series data, we can see if the customer scores increase over time or decrease over time, or what kind of play. We can check those. After that, we can create also a stacked bar chart to stack bar chart to see what they look like. Now, what this exactly means? I'm just going to give you one of them, and you might have some ideas. For example, if you look at the room cleanliness, top 2 boxes, 56 points. 67%, right? So majority of customers rated room cleanliness as excellent, 4 or 5, indicating it is a relatively strong touch point. However, if you look at here, the bad score, significant portion of customers gave low ratings, 1 or 2. This suggests inconsistency in the cleanliness experience, which could lead to dissatisfaction, right? So while room cleanliness is generally performing well, once again, relatively, because what was the average score? Is 3.62. I mean, 3.62 in our industry is not a very good score, but relatively compared to others, or compared to overall score, there is a still like 25.23% people are saying that, which is a sizable number of customers, you are not meeting our expectations. So that needs to be monitored for potential operational improvements. Let me give you another one, and I'm going to ask you to also stop here and think about the others. But like, for example, in check-in speed, right, is a 44%. Less than half of customers rated that check-in speed as excellent. This indicates that is not a strong point. I mean, less than half of the customer says is check-in is good. And bottom two box, 36%, which is a very high percentage of customers gave very low ratings, making this significant area of concern, right? As a matter of fact, you can do this also comparison for the like rating 5 versus rating 1 to see how many people really give 1, right? So in this case, we can say that check-in speed is underperforming overall, with low percentage of positive ratings and high percentage of negative ones. It is clear candidate for process optimization, such as streamlining procedures or adding staff during peak times. Whatever maybe needs to do to fix this issue. That's an issue basically. Okay. So let's be sure in that. But overall, if you look at this, room cleanliness and value for money compared to others, overall acceptable. But others definitely, especially the staff friendliness is I mean, look at this staff friendliness is 24.67, value for money for 28.67, check-in speed is 36. Especially the check-in speed needs a lot of works needs to be done. Now, last one I'm going to talk about is the little bit more important from the assigning which touch point and overall satisfaction have a relationship, what kind of relationship they have. We do this, the goal is in here to calculate the correlation coefficient between each touch point and overall satisfaction to identify strength and direction of their relationship. Now, if you recall from your statistics course, closer the correlation is to 1, the stronger the positive relationship. The closer to its negative one, the stronger the negative relationship is. Okay, but you can get the highest in the both positive and negative side is the 1. Now, how do we calculate them? It is not that hard. You just look at the correlation, in this case B2 to BO31, which is the room cleanliness, and to overall satisfaction. Basically, you are saying that what kind of correlation between room cleanliness and overall satisfaction. So we calculated for all these, and if you look at that, how can we interpret them? Like, for example, room cleanliness 0.59. This has a moderate positive correlation with overall satisfaction. This means that improvements in room cleanliness are likely to have noticeable impact on increasing overall satisfaction. So as always, I mean, invest in maintaining and enhancing cleanliness standards, as these factors plays a meaningful role in shaping customer perception. Now, do you remember one of the major issue in highest dissatisfaction on the check-in speed, right? So there is also 0.72, which is the strong positive correlation with overall satisfaction, which indicates that customer place significant importance on their check-in experience. So because of this highest correlation, you can say that because their check-in is not efficient and smooth, it contributes heavily to how satisfied they feel overall. So one of the, I guess, the most important things you need to check in checking. We need to optimize the check-in process to check what's going on, such as reducing wait times, providing mobile check-in options, improving front desk efficiency, whatever you can think of to fix the check-in speed, which is going to, in the end, looking at the correlation, is going to affect overall satisfaction. Similarly, staff friendliness. There is a strong positive correlation highlighting the importance of positive staff interaction on customer satisfaction. By the way, I'm not going to go into... Oh, by the way, let me talk about the tech rating then, and I'm going to talk about some other issue. Now, if you look at the tech rating, it's the weak negative correlation. It's a very weak, right? 0.06. This indicates that tech rating has a little to no relationship with how customers perceive their overall experience. Now, that needs to be more investigation, right? So you need to investigate whether the technology being used is outdated, unintuitive, or unnecessary for customers. Also, you might want to look at for each, actually, maybe age differences, right? Maybe certain, like if you recall from age distribution, I don't know if it's this age people, like almost many of them in the 49 to 64, maybe they don't care that much about the tech rating. Like, you know, I mean, once again, let's not forget, I generated these data sets in order to give you some ideas and some basics of the descriptive analytics, so it doesn't really needs to make sense. But if you were thinking about it, you need to consider this. Why? And you might want to also look at the maybe business people versus leisure people, or different genders, or maybe different age groups, to see if these things correlation becomes stronger or less. So I just want you to give you some ideas what is the basics in some of the analysis look like. But always, no matter whatever you do, you should be guided by certain curiosity and certain research questions. I mean, you are not doing this for the just sake of doing it, right? You are doing this because you want to answer some questions, and whatever the result is, you should always think about it, why this might be, and what kind of other issues, underlying issues might be. But the important thing is, wherever you see an issue, which is the major purpose of the descriptive analytics, right? Then you need to consider, hey, what is going on here? Why is, for example, check-in speed is the lowest one, or tech rating is the lowest one, right? So you always need to think about this. So I am also hoping to give you some ideas, and I'm going to continue with this video, the help with the chat GPT in the hopefully next.